is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk, man. I really do appreciate it. Continue to pass the word and tell people about the most fun, the most live, the most interactive sports talk show in America. That's right, it is the Doug Stewart Show. Yes. An incredible weekend in the world of the NFL. I babysat my nephews this weekend. They off the chain. Going to tell you more about that throughout today's show. So we're getting your ballers and your busters from this past weekend, and there are so many to give out. I mean, so many. So give me a call, 404-382-0338. This segment of the show is brought to you by Join 7. They're a protection group against, mishaps. And so if you want to join in and get with Join 7 and be protected against those life's little mishaps, go to my website at thedougstewartshow.com. and click on their banner link and join 7. 404-382-0338. Once again, I need to let you know that you can listen to the show in several different places. You can listen at thedougstewartshow.com. The easiest way, though, is probably at Spreaker.com. Go to Spreaker.com and just search the Doug Stewart Show once you get on there very easily. I mean, it's very easy. And then follow. Make sure you hit follow, because if you follow whenever I do a special show, which I plan to do shows leading up to, I don't know, like maybe a Super Bowl or an NBA final or a big game in college football, a national championship game, I'll do special shows and let you call in and talk about the pregame or the postgame. So make sure you follow me on Spreaker. Just don't go in there and listen. Make sure you hit the follow button. That's huge. That's very big, is that you follow as well on Spreaker.com. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. We need your ballers and your busters. And the best way, I need to mention this as well, the best way to stay interactive with the show is to tweet me. Yes, the Doug Stewart Show. The Doug Stewart Show, all one word, is my Twitter handle name. And I got a couple of tweets right now. One here from Roderick Pinson. He says, Ball Award goes to J.J. Watt and Jacoby Brissett. Buster to the Saints and the Cowboys. They must have ate a Snickers because they're not their self when they're hungry. And you're exactly right. The Dallas Cowboys, Roderick, were not themselves last night. Okay? And the Saints definitely weren't themselves. Not the Saints that we're used to seeing over the last couple of years. Maybe the Saints from 15, 20, 30 years ago that historically has been one of the worst franchises in football. But last night, both teams were not themselves. And we're going to get more into that in a second. Here's a tweet from Kendall. He says, Baller goes to J.J. Watt. Busters, that fool that got body slammed by the OSU strength coach. Matter of fact, that coach is a baller, and I agree 100%. And if you want to talk about that, you can as well. Make sure you tweet your boy at the Doug Stewart Show on Twitter. All right, let's talk a little bit about these Falcons. And once again, we're talking Falcons because that's the passion around here in the ATL, obviously, during football season. We're going to talk about the Falcons. But if you're in Oakland, I got folks listening in Texas. I got folks listening in Cali. I got folks listening in Minnesota. If you want to call up here and talk about your Vikings and you live next to Lake Minnetonka, as the great Prince said several years back, give us a call, 404-382-0338. We're talking all sports from this past weekend, all right? But the Falcons, tough game yesterday as they have this dynamic win last week, just destroying Tampa Bay. They go on the road to Minnesota and lose 41-28. Teddy Bridgewater passed for 317 yards and a key 2-point conversion. And the Vikings rode a resurgent running game. And when I talk about resurgent running game to a victory in beating the Atlanta Falcons 41-28, this Jerick McKinnon, the kid from Georgia Southern, speaking of which, Georgia sports, had a great game yesterday. All right, 18 times for 135 yards. The Asiata kid that started, 20 carries for 78 yards. And Teddy Bridgewater, he gets the first baller of the day. And once again, Teddy Bridgewater, kudos to that young man. The young man was talked about as being the first pick in the draft damn near for 3 years, okay? And went to the NFL Combine and sucked, okay? He had a tough weekend in Indianapolis. But what happened to the player that everybody said, should be the first pick in the draft when he comes out in the NFL draft? That guy appeared this past weekend. And the Falcons were the recipient of a horrible loss. And it's a horrible loss because you think the Falcons can score and they can play with anybody. But not this past weekend. There was a little leprechaun on this kid's shoulder, made a bunch of great throws, not just luck on his side. The kid made NFL throws. Now, one thing that does kind of, alarm me about Teddy Bridgewater is he's slight, okay? Teddy Bridgewater is slight, and that's one of the knocks they talked about when he was coming out. I mean, to me, it's almost like he just needs to throw on some ribcage protectors just to bulk himself up a little bit because he looks tiny out there. His legs look spindly. So he hurt his ankle this past weekend. Now, you can get hurt, at any time. That's why they call them accidents, because you don't mean to get hurt. And so he hurt his ankle this past weekend. X-rays were negative. So you hope that young man is okay. You hope that he can come back and play this Thursday night. They play on the Thursday night edition of the NFL. Jarius Wright led the Vikings with 8 catches for 132 yards, both career highs, along with Justin Blaylock back, Lamar Holmes foot, and Joey Hawley knee. Falcons safety William Moore, they were all injured this past weekend. So the Falcons got injury issues. They've had injury issues throughout the year from the start of the season. And now they get 4 guys that are key contributors hurt this past weekend. So that doesn't bode well if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan. What are your thoughts if you're a Falcons fan? Do you believe in this team? Do you think this team, the wins that they've accumulated so far, do you think they're more of the team that put up a ton of points against the New Orleans Saints? Or do you think the team is more so the team that got destroyed on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals? Still think they're a good team, in my personal opinion. I do. Think they're a good team. But they have issues. The defense, there's no other way to say it. The defense sucks. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier. The defense sucks. They don't have any real playmakers outside of William Moore. I love the cornerbacks, but they're still young, so they're going to make mistakes. Okay? They're going to make mistakes, and that's what you saw yesterday is when you have really no pass rush to talk about with the Falcons, it's going to be a long day. If Matt Ryan isn't on his A game and Julio and Roddy aren't on their A games, it's going to be a tough day if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan. So let me get your thoughts on the Falcons. What do you think? 404-382-0338. And I tell you what, man, Teddy Bridgewater, they talked about the day that he had yesterday. It was an all-timer for a guy getting his first start in the NFL. Okay? An incredible job. 317 yards, no passing TDs. Okay? But he had a rushing TD. Wasn't sacked at all. 19 for 30. Solid day. And he looked like a 10-year veteran back there. Now, once there's a book out on dude, all right, once teams break down some film on him and see what are some of his tendencies and what he likes to do and what he doesn't like to do. I always talk about getting a book on a batter in baseball. You can't get all crazy and willy-nilly off of one performance because it's just one performance. Wait till defensive coordinators that are paid millions of dollars, okay, are set to diagnose what you do good and what you don't do good. Then we'll tell. Let's have this conversation about Teddy Bridgewater. Although he does get a baller for this weekend, it is what it is. Let's have this conversation about Teddy Bridgewater in about 5 or 6 weeks and see if you still like his game, if he's gone up, if he's continued to mature, or if he kind of comes back to earth. Now, as a rookie, you are going to have those games. You just are. I mean, hell, Peyton Manning had those games when he first came out. Andrew Luck has those games when he first came into the league. The greatest players ever pretty much have had those games when they came into the league. Some guys that really didn't have, or one guy in particular that comes to mind that really didn't have a ton of those games was Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, man, came onto the scene, and a guy that really took care of the football, didn't make a lot of mistakes, but it's far and few between, and subsequently won a Super Bowl. But it's far and few between in the play that you see out of Russell Wilson and other guys. Okay, they come into the league. So he's going to have his times where he struggle. But, I mean, great game last night. They were chanting his name, Teddy. So just an incredible game for the rookie for the Minnesota Vikings on yesterday. One other thing, man, got to quickly mention Georgia. An incredible win this past weekend, and it shouldn't really be incredible because they're Georgia and they took on Tennessee. They beat them 35-32. Todd Gurley just continues to be the story. Todd Gurley gets a ball award. Dude rushed for a career-high 208 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 51-yarder in the fourth quarter as Georgia held off a gritty Tennessee for a 35-32 victory. And, man, I mean, a great win for Georgia because they needed it. And I'll tell you what, Tennessee's game. They are really game. And I really like what's going on with Tennessee, and it looks like they're making some strides to try to turn this thing around because they have been horrible ever since Philip Fulmer left. Butch Jones is starting to build some things there. I don't know when they're going to get it all together, but they're starting to look better. But back to Georgia, they just look fantastic offensively. Todd Gurley in particular looks fantastic. I didn't know Turley was actually a hurdler in high school, champion hurdler in high school. So Tennessee has lost 21 straight road games against ranked teams. This ain't your daddy's Tennessee Volunteers. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. Ball award goes to Todd Gurley. When we get back from the break, though, we're going to grab your calls and get into this Cowboy conversation, man. What in the hell is going on with the Dallas Cowboys? We'll kind of break them down and get your thoughts on them guys, man. Dallas. Wow. Unbelievable. I said they sucked at the beginning of the year. I still think they suck. They definitely suck. But not last night. Got to give them some kudos. All right, keep it locked. Dallas Cowboy Talk up next. The Doug Stewart Show. This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, TheDougStewartShow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on the DougStewartShow.com or the app link for details. Welcome to Atlanta, my SC State Bulldog family. Once again, your boy Stu is throwing the biggest party of the year, October 3rd, 2014, in honor of the classic game being played in Atlanta that Saturday. It's only for the grown and sexy, though. The party will be held in the Georgia Ballroom in the Crown Plaza Hotel, located at 590 West Peachtree Street, Northwest ATL, starting at 10 p.m. Atlanta's own DJ Cowboy playing all the old school hits. You know how he do. It's going to be crazy. Last year at Asia, 4 years ago at Shout, this year at the Crown Plaza. Bananas! Advance tickets are $20 for a limited time, so get yours at theclassicparty.eventbrite.com. Last year, over 1,000 people kicked it hard at ATL with your boy. And to quote the great Sidney Poitier, let's do it again. See you in Atlanta. Doug Stewart Show.